Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having a good start or good end to the weekend. So today is Sunday, December 22nd. Tomorrow is Monday, and I just want to make sure that for our Sunday stock talk, we talk about the top stocks that you guys see value in. I'm going to do a very quick breakdown because, again, I know a lot of people are going to be asking about it. This is where natural gas closed on Friday. This is where we're at right now. So there was a huge drop. It was trading at 2.33, huge drop. So very simple little breakdown, meaning that if natural gas holds at around this general area below where natural gas closed at, we would see UGAS drop down in price. Therefore, and if I'm not mistaken, the reverse stock split for UGAS actually takes effect tomorrow. So this is going to be very difficult for people to make sense of because, first of all, with that reverse stock split, you'll have less shares available. There'll be a higher price per share, but now because of that drop, overall, you're bound to most likely lose money. This is a perfect example, again, of why we do not hold positions overnight. Just so you guys can see, again, I focus on day trading. It's my focus. It doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing. I just wanted to do a very quick kind of like recap or breakdown on what happened to natural gas over the weekend on the technical side and what's most likely going to happen if natural gas holds at this price point. I think that I've been keeping my day trade super simple. I've been focusing solely on natural gas. As natural gas has been selling off, I've been focusing on degas. I've been hitting my daily goal pretty consistently, literally every single day, and it's been very enjoyable. I've been trying to keep it as simple as possible. I'm not trying to maximize every trade. I'm not trying to hope for more. Every day is I hit my goal and then I move on. I think it was only on Thursday that I hit like $1,000, which is double of my daily goal. So on that note, I approached it a little bit more aggressive, but it wasn't anything crazy. So again, the big focus of mine has been keeping it simple. The trend is my friend, so kind of going with the flow, and then to not be afraid to lock in profits. A very simple little quote that we like to remind our traders. So for everyone that loves to ask what platform I use, it literally says it right here, Think or Swim by TD Ameritrade. You don't have to use it. There's so many amazing brokerages out there. This is simply what I use, and it shouldn't, this shouldn't motivate you to use it or anything like that. So, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to be breaking down to this Sunday stock talk. It's just so I break down the top stocks that you guys see value in, and that's really just it. So I hope I earn your thumbs up in this video, and let's go ahead and have fun. So if you guys want me to break down your top stock, make sure that you post it in the ticker call out format. So what platform to use? I love that I just answered that and people still ask. So PCG, here we go. So PCG, I'm going to break this on the 180-day chart, if that's all right with you guys. We were showing signs of a descending pattern. It began. Again, the SMA line is something that I like to focus on that I think gives a better indication of direction. We were selling off. The SMA line was showing signs of a downtrend pattern. It began to pick up. The overall pattern began to pick up. The overall SMA line began to show more signs of an uptrend. So now what used to act as a resistance is now acting as a potential support. So yes, we did pull back. We could see this thing continue to rally, but I would be very, very careful. So if we do begin to make higher highs, and again, great. I can see why it is that then you're paying attention to it, but I would just be very careful if there is a break of pattern or if it begins to pull back. Just like we saw last time, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it does begin to pull back to around that SMA line. So again, just make sure that you keep that in mind when taking your position or when deciding to lock in profits. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we have a couple people posting it in the ticker call out format. I appreciate that. So here we go. AG, what's going on, Mohammed? What's up? What's up? Here we go. So AG, we're getting a lot of consolidation. So this is a pretty good indication of a solid resistance. This is just my breakdown, but one of the things that you guys could see is that this was showing signs of an uptrend. Now what we kind of got going on here is kind of this not horizontal pattern. It's still showing signs of kind of higher highs, but not really breaking above 1150. It doesn't do a very good job holding above 1150. I know why you're calling it out. Looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, you could see that it's a little bit more on the oversold side. It did break below the SMA line. I mean, it has done that before and it has recovered from it. But again, the trend is your friend, and right now we are trading below the EMA line. So quick little heads up, please be careful in not getting in too early. I don't know if you guys saw that video on my YouTube channel where I talk about it's not about just entering a position and hoping that it goes in your favor, but to take a position when it actually makes sense. I don't know if you guys have New Year's resolutions, as a lot of people do. My biggest focus that I would encourage if I was a complete beginner is risk management and knowing when to enter a position. The more efficient that you are, the more of an effective trader that you can be. That is 100% my opinion, but that is coming from my experience. So feel free to ask anyone, but I think overall risk management, so loss is inevitable. Therefore, all you can do is manage it. You're going to take losses in this market. There's no question about it, right? So all you can do is approach it in a way that you manage that risk, right? You keep those small. And then on top of that, when it comes down to entering a position, especially if you're under the PD2 rule, you shouldn't be throwing your money at everything. It should make sense, and it should be a trade worth taking. That's just my 2 cents. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So here we go. We got NTES. So let's go ahead and break that one down. I appreciate you tuning in and putting it in the ticker call out format. So I definitely see why you're bringing this one up. The overall SMA line has been indicating signs of an uptrend, right? And it has been making these higher highs and higher lows. We did recently begin to pull back. And right now, one of the things that I want to call out is that, yeah, the MACD looks good, the RSI looks decent, but we're not really making higher highs. We're not selling off anymore, at least not, it doesn't look like it, but we're not making higher highs. Again, the trend is your friend, and think about this. The more confirmation you get of something showing signs of an uptrend, think about it, the more comfortable you'll feel to put your money into it because it's showing signs of a continuous pattern. Right now, I would like to call this like a critical point. I say this all the time to our Learn, Find, Profit members. It's at a point where it could either go either way, right? It could get rejected just like it did before and make lower lows, right? Or it could actually begin to make higher highs. So what can you do? This is my question for you guys today. Looking at this, viewing that it's at a potential critical point, right? We don't know if it's going to go up. We don't know if it's going to go down. And if you're so certain that it's going to go up, what is one simple little thing that you can do to feel a little bit more comfortable in taking that initial position? So what is one step that you can take? Looking at this pattern, what is one step that you can take as a beginner to feel a little bit more comfortable when taking your position? Need to wait for that confirmation. Super simple, right? So add an alert, right? This is the thing that I like that you guys bring up is, well, Ricky, how do I know when I have confirmation? Well, right now it's still selling off, right? We're not showing signs of higher highs. Well, when will I know when it's showing confirmation? Set your alerts at a significant price point where it makes sense that it's showing signs of an uptrend. Keep it simple. It's not rocket science, right? I like to focus on direction, and that's my focus. It doesn't have to be yours. But if you've caught yourself trading stocks that are continuously selling off because you're trying to find the bottom and it doesn't go according to plan, then hey, wake up and notice that maybe that's not the best approach. I'm not here to say that my approach is the best. I'm just saying that, pick up on what you are doing right and what you could be doing better. And if you've noticed that you get in a little bit too early, then patience and confirmation are going to be your best friend for the New Year's, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So what trading platform does Ricky use? Anyone? I don't know how many times I can get asked that question in a video. Think or swim, TD Ameritrade. It's what I use. You don't have to use it. Literally every single video I have on YouTube, I get you guys should know. It literally says right here. Bing. Here it goes. CTRA. Holy smokes. All right, CTRA, overall direction. Again, I'm just not a big believer in these companies. This is a true penny stock, overall aggressively selling off, right? Earnings not going according to plan, making lower lows, making lower highs. Yeah, it can pop off just like anything can. I'm just saying based off of the pattern, which is as a technical trader, what I trade off of, I would not touch this. Overall direction, if you were to look at this and you were to put your money into something, right? You have $10,000 that you worked really hard for, and they show you, hey, this is how we were trading, right? 180 days ago, it was at 61,814. This is where we're at now, right? Or even recently, let's look a month back. This is where we were and this is where we are now. Would you want to trade this? Probably not, especially if you're a complete beginner. Let's be honest, right? If you're not the best with your entries, if you're not the best with your exits, why overcomplicate it? Focus on direction, focus on something that actually makes sense, not a hopeful trade. So in my opinion, and 100% my opinion, I would say that no, this is not something that I would trade. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So FTX, here we go. All right. So I definitely see why you're bringing this one up. I could see that there's a constant, I wouldn't say there's not a very consistent pattern, but there is some form of overall, I mean, we're kind of just consolidating here, right? So the overall low point, high points, low point, high points, low point, high points, low points. It makes sense, right? So right now we're not selling off anymore, and this is something that I want to bring to your guys' attention. We're not selling off anymore. I mean, it had a poor earnings, right? Or I mean, its earnings didn't go according to plan as it aggressively sold off. So its overall guidance could have been a little bit off, but it's consolidating right now. It looks like it's trying to find a support, and now we wait for a reversal. So looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, these are just things that we use as a reference. Right now, it's still not showing signs of growth. So because of that, it can go a long way to stay patient. This is FedEx. Margin for potential recovery is not too bad. It's a little bit over 10%. So if you like the pattern, if you see an opportunity here, set your alerts and follow up with it. It's not a perfect trade. Nothing's perfect, but the whole idea of at least day trading to me, right, is challenging yourself. So challenge yourself on what needs to happen for this to qualify for a trade for you to be worth trading. And if it meets that criteria, then great. And if it doesn't, then guess what? You don't have to trade it. And that's the beautiful thing about this market, is that you should be the sole decision maker on where you choose to put your hard-earned money. That simple. So if you win or you lose, it's you, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So here we go. We got PODD. Alrighty. All right, so we have a pretty consistent direction here, right? We're definitely showing signs of an uptrend. It hit highs of 18725. I know that this might be a little bit too expensive for some people that are trading with smaller accounts, but we have a pretty consistent pattern here that, again, it comes down to the percentage or the opportunity that, can be presented. So based off of recent patterns and previous resistance levels right around 185 and where it's trading at right now. So if we do begin to make higher highs from 175 to about 185, that's about 5.63%. So not horrible, right? It's attractive, but you have to ask yourself, do you feel comfortable trading it? Do you have confirmation? Is the confirmation there yet? How are you going to average up? All that stuff. When are you going to lock in profits? So as of right now, it's still getting rejected by this EMA line. It's not aggressively selling off right now, but we're also not making higher highs. So I'm simply going to set my alerts, follow up with it. If it goes according to plan, then great. You can set up a plan of where your entry, where your exit, and where your stop loss would be, as long as it makes sense. But I can definitely see why someone would want to follow up with that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. What's going on, me, Kevin? What's up? So AVDL. Here we go. So we got, all right, pharmaceuticals. I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm just sharing my opinion, right? So overall SMA line looks to be a pretty solid support. We have a pretty consistent pattern. It looks like it's been showing signs of an uptrend. It's a pretty low cap stock. Looks like it has pretty low volume. This is absolutely not something that I would trade. I wouldn't want to put my money into something that I could potentially, the volatility just might not be there, right? Especially with the dollar amount that I trade with. Right now, to keep it super simple, it's selling off. It's not increasing. You're not missing out on anything as it's selling off. Keeping it that simple, right? You could set your alerts. If it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, you could follow up with it and ask yourself, does it meet your criteria? Are you okay with the low volatility? Are you okay with how volatile it is? And if so, then that's up to you. Altogether, I would not trade this. I like the pattern and I like the direction. I would not trade this because of the volume and because of the type of stock it is. I just don't do well with pharmaceutical companies. I think there's a lot of shady stuff that happens when it comes down to their marketing, when it comes down to the news, and what fluctuates the prices for pharmaceutical companies in my experience. And because of that, that's just not my focus. I know a lot of people that do focus on pharmaceuticals, and they do just well. I just don't play well with it, and that's why I'm here sharing that with you. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got ticker symbol RAD. I have not seen that one in a while. Is this, if I remember, Rite Aid, right? Yeah, Rite Aid. So huge push up. So I can see why you're talking about this one. It probably popped up in your scanners, went through its earnings, huge push to 15.10. This is a perfect example. So it went through an 18.5% push on Friday. Now, for everyone that is watching right now, is this the time to buy Rite Aid? Let's keep it very simple. Is this the time to trade Rite Aid? Looking at previous patterns at low points, high points, and how it's been trading, looking at a series of different indicators. As a day trader, people are always so focused at, it pushed up, so it's bound to continue. Like, they don't think it's ever going to stop, right? So for those that are tuning in right now, how would you approach this? I do agree that if it opens on Monday and it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then great. If the direction is in your favor and there's a margin of profit, then I can understand why you follow up with it. Please do not be a hopeful trader. Please do not be someone that has no plan, that's going to buy and just thinks that it's going to go up. It just doesn't work that way, especially, look at this, especially when things are so overbought. When's the last time that it was at $15? Not 180 days ago. So what makes you think that it's going to hold there? There was an earnings report, and this earnings report, again, due to the news, allowed it, and due to the demand, pushed it up to 15.10. In my experience, these things don't last for a very long period of time. Can they continue to rally? Of course, if the demand is still there. Will it most likely continue? In my experience, most likely not, unless the news is super relevant. And it wouldn't be much of a surprise if a bunch of people then just simply begin to short Rite Aid because they understand how overbought it is. I'm not huge on shorting, but I can see why people that do might be watching this. Keeping it that simple, right? So we got annoying people in here today. Here we go. What's going on? No one. We got NIO. All right, let's break that one down. NIO, here we go. Alrighty, so we were showing signs of a descending pattern. It began to indicate signs of an uptrend. It looks like it's really right in this EMA line. I just don't, I can see the flow. I can see the trend. Yeah, it's not a great deal. I would really just be riding this push up and hoping that it doesn't break its pattern. I just don't like that. I would not approach it that way. It just doesn't look like a huge opportunity. It looks like we're at highs, right? It's been struggling to break above that general area. So if it continues to push up, then great, so be it. You could follow up with it and ask yourself if the margin of profit is worth it. It wouldn't be much of a surprise based off of recent patterns that as it does push up, it becomes so overbought that it begins to pull back. So it becomes so overbought, look at the RSI, look at the MACD, that then it begins to pull back. So just set your alerts, be cautious of what could potentially happen and not just be hopeful and thinking that it's going to continue to rally. So that's my 2 cents on that. So here we go. Let's go ahead and move on to DELL. Alrighty. All right. DELL's kind of been all over the place, and you can see that very quickly. The overall SMA line has been acting as a resistance. We can see that it recently began to push up. In my honest opinion, this looks like it's in the very early stages of a potential reversal. Looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, you can see that it recently pushed up, right? And now it has margin to give back again. Therefore, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it actually begins to sell off. So it does have a decent margin to give back. So again, it's not always about trying to get in right now and hoping that it pushes up, especially as the SMA line has been acting as a resistance. So because of that, I would set your alerts. And again, if the direction is not in your favor, then I would be extra careful when deciding to enter that position. So let's go ahead and break down what's going on, Victor and KE. So we're going to break down Nike. I'm going to do 3 more breakdowns and then we'll call it a live stream. But here we go. Looks like Nike reached new highs on the 180-day chart. Again, Victor, I'm just speaking from my opinion. I'm a big believer in either there being, going with the flow, the overall uptrend, and making sure that there's a margin of profit to recover, right? So when Nike fell back down here, right, and it's beginning to show signs of an uptrend, we can see based off previous highs that it has margin to recover. Looking at Nike now, it pushed up so much that it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it actually begins to correct itself and give it back. In my opinion, I think Nike is a little bit more overbought than it is oversold, and because of that, I'd be very careful. Can it continue to uptrend? Yes, I just don't think the margin that it has to offer would be worth it enough, at least as a day trader, for me to hold and take on that risk of holding something overnight. And again, that's just for my opinion. That's why I made sure that was super clear. So Here we go. I'm going to set my alert on that and we can follow up with it. So what's going on, Raul? Thank you again for tuning in. So let's go ahead and so you trade only stocks. Yes, I don't trade Forex or I don't trade crypto, if that's what you're trying to ask. I don't know what you mean by if I only trade stocks. Here we go. So VRUS looks like we had a really aggressive pullback. MACD RSI looks like it's trying to find a support. This is a very simple kind of like textbook reversal. We could see that it pushed up, it aggressively sold off, it found a support, it began to consolidate, right? Finding a support. It could either sell off or pick right back up. So that's why I set my alert here, and we could set our alerts here. This is a super low cap stock. I would not touch this, and that's just my opinion. I don't like trading sub $5, and this is definitely something that would not meet my criteria. The pattern is there, the criteria is not. So because of that, if it doesn't meet all my criteria, then again, I simply wouldn't do it. So what do you think of options? I think it's an option, right? I'm a big believer that you guys know that I will always empower any of our members, any of our viewers, to do whatever it is that you guys see value in. I don't care if you trade options. I don't care if you trade Forex, crypto. I focus in my niche, and that's where I stay in my lane, right? We have a lot of people that focus on options because you need very little capital to see great return, but you could also, it's very simple. Higher reward, higher risk. That's simple, right? Therefore, if you have a good system going on, then yeah, I could see why it could be rewarding. But as a beginner, let's be completely honest, nothing is that black and white. Nothing is that simple. So it still takes time to learn. It still takes time to practice, and there's always a form of risk involved. So don't be sold on the idea that everything is super simple. It's nothing worth having in life will ever come easy. And if it does, then you're very, very lucky. At least in my life, everything that is worth learning more about and worth having takes time, takes practice, and you're going to make mistakes along the way. If you're interested about options, take time to learn more about it. Don't listen to other people on where you should put your money. You should never be told what to do. You should never give your money to someone else to trade for you. Again, that's a huge red flag. It's take time to learn more about it so you know what to do and what not to do. That's simple, and I wish you the best. So ticker symbol ROAD. What do you guys think about this? I want you guys to help me break this one down. So I want you guys to, for those that are tuning in, to list one attractive thing about ROAD and maybe one not so attractive thing about it. So ticker symbol ROAD, what is one thing that we can say on this 180-day chart that we can say, hey, this is not that bad. This is an attractive thing about ROAD. So what is it? Higher highs. What's going on, William? What's up? All right. MACD, okay. Holding SMA line. Okay. The spread is crazy. Yep. MACD, SMA. Support at the 200 SMA. Okay. So a lot of you guys are bringing up this SMA line. A lot of you guys are bringing this overall uptrend pattern. I do agree, right? One of the things that we are presented with right now is due to this earnings, we saw a huge drop. We saw a consolidation. And now the way that I view this is that, hey, we were trading up here. Some bad news came out. It dropped down here. So now we have recovery or gap potential, right? It's 10%. It's up to you. Do you find that attractive? If so, then maybe you could pay attention to it. Right now, we're not necessarily making higher highs, but we're not selling off anymore. We're above the EMA line, and this is where I would set my alert. I would set my alert at $18, and this doesn't mean that after it breaks 18, I'm going all in. You want to feel comfortable with your trade. Yes, it does have margin to recover, but it could also be in the very early stages of a reversal. So because of that, again, look at the MACD and look at the RSI. Don't be sold so early on in a potential reversal when we don't even have true confirmation. So I would approach this and follow up with this, even if you just want to watch it. If you're a beginner trader, and watch this and see how it plays out. You identified an opportunity, right? This is a potential entry. This is potentially where you can exit around this general area. The margin of profit on percentage wise might be worth it for you. Set up an entry, exit, and stop loss. Where would you enter? Where would you buy more? Where would you sell it all? And where would you cut losses if things begin to go south? have fun with it, enjoy it, and again, make sure that it makes sense. So I'm also going to set my alert here to see if we actually begin to break below the SMA line. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then we can go from there. So what's going on, Elijah? Oh, happy to have you as a part of the team. I like it. Let's do a good one for the last one. What's going on, Jared? All right, so LXP, let's see. Let's see if this one's good. Okay, honestly, not too bad. Overall uptrend pattern, aggressively sold off after it hit highs of $11 or $11.20. Potentially in the very early stages of reversal, MACD RSI. I think that we can all agree that this isn't too bad. I think we did this one last week. And yeah, we already set our alerts here. So that's around 1080 that we can follow up with it. So percentage-wise, margin of profit isn't too attractive. It's not too bad either. So NIO, I'll do a couple more because that one was a very quick breakdown. So here we go, NIO. No, I already did NIO if I'm not mistaken. So there it goes, KDMN. Alrighty, I would view this to be a little bit more on the overbought side, Jared. Yeah, we do have a pretty consistent pattern here, but again, yes, it can continue to rally. I just don't know if, I don't know. This one would definitely be one that I would have to follow up with and just make sure the direction is in my favor, and I would really watch my position size just because of how much margin it has to give back, and I would not feel comfortable swing trading that. So, but I really appreciate you breaking this one down or sharing it with me. So, all right, TTD. I believe that's TD Ameritrade, no? Oh, the trade desk. All right. Very overbought, so it looks like it aggressively sold out. It kind of looks like it's all over the place. Previous highs, current highs, back there once again. MACD, RSI look overbought. Can it continue to rally? Of course. All I have to say is looking at recent patterns and previous patterns, there tends to be a pretty solid resistance right around 270, meaning that it doesn't do a very good job holding above here. Can it continue to uptrend? Of course, anything can happen. Will it? Most likely will. Based off previous patterns, it doesn't hold up there for a very long time. So can you make money? Of course. Is it the safest trade? I don't think so. I think this would be kind of a high risk and the reward isn't even that great. So I think it has a lot of margin to give back. So I would be very, very careful. And I hope that you guys know that, again, I'm just trying to be a little bit more careful or cautious for all of us, right? Looks like Tesla, so many of you guys were asking us to break this one down. What do you guys think about Tesla? I think that it's super overbought, super overextended. It's not a good deal, and it's due for a very, very good pullback. That's my opinion. It's been very relevant. It's been trending. There's a lot of news and a lot of positive news that's been causing it to drive its price up. I think that's great. Technical side, I think it's so overbought, it wouldn't be much of a surprise, especially knowing Tesla's background, that a bunch of people are going to begin to focus on it to potentially short it on the up and coming weeks or months, depending on how things go. So, but I do think on the how things have been going for Tesla, I think it's been great. So if you've made money, great, but know when to lock in profits and know when to walk away. That's all I'm here to say. So I wanted to keep today's Sunday Stock Talk pretty simple. I actually think we broke down, what was that? Almost 20 stocks. So I think that's actually pretty sweet. So if I didn't have time to break down your stock, all you guys have to do is to direct message me on Discord or post it in the group alerts or watch list section and simply tag me. I also do want to remind you that there are a bunch of like fake Twitter accounts and fake Instagram and Facebook accounts that will message you pretending to be me. I want to say this in the nicest way possible. I never message you first. I never ask for anything, and I just don't say what's up. That's the easiest way for me to put it. So if you ever have any questions, if it's me, let me be super kind of like simple and just direct message me on Discord. That is all. So if you guys want to stay connected, the first link down below is our free Facebook group. We're the largest Facebook group in the world for those who day trade in the stock market, and we would love to connect if you see value in what we do. I really hope that we earned your thumbs up, and don't forget, if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, I only work with the Learn Plan Profit group. It's an option. It's not the only option for you. It's just only what I offer. So if you like what you see on YouTube and you like the way that I break things down and you would like more help from me, then click that second link down below, learn a little bit more about the Learn Plan Profit Group, and see if our team is a good fit for you. I'm one of the only people that trade live every single day, and I would love to be that spark to start 2020 on a strong note with you. I really do appreciate you guys' time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care.